Well, if not Get the Cabin was a superb surprise, this movie is far from that. So let's just say it's not a surprise. More so, I didn't like it. True Spirit is an Australian biopic film on Netflix written by Kathy Randall, Rebecca Banner, and Susan Spillane, with Spillane in the director's chair. It's a movie that I hope that I have enough to say about. Whereas with you people, that movie stunk, but I was kind of shocked I did have enough to say about once I finished the review. Here, I hope I can muster enough to say, but I really don't think I can. I don't know. Well, let's see how long I can keep this going for. Oh wait, the script is finished. I have enough to say. Okay, with that said, True Spirit is about the true story of Jessica Watson, the youngest person to ever sail around the world solo non-stop. And though through the power of determination and aircraft, she did. So years later, a biopic based on her memoirs come out, which is, to be nice, let's just say, I can see other people liking this movie. Truly I do. But for me, I was so bored out of my mind watching it. It felt like a chore. Look, I paused it at one point hoping it was almost done, and then groaned when I saw it was only halfway through. And since I can't review a movie without watching it start to finish, well, let's just say it disappoints me that still finishing the movie, it didn't change how I felt at all halfway through, or even 20 minutes in. So with that said, what is the movie about? Well, I mean, I did say it's about the true story already of... I already said it's the true story of how 16-year-old Jessica Watson, played by Tegan Croft, decided because she just wanted to pursue the challenge of being the youngest person to sail around the world, thanks to the support of her family, played by Anna Paquin, Josh Lawson, and other names I probably will mispronounce, and her mentor, Ben Bryant, played by Cliff Curtis. Being a biopic it's part of the... Being a biopic, and that it's part of the premise going in, knowing she set out to accomplish her goal, albeit I never heard of her until I saw the movie, so now I know, so thanks for the movie for that. Honestly, making a biopic is hard. And I don't know if I said that before in a review, and personally that's kind of what, if I ever made a biopic myself, I would be afraid out of my mind to misrepresent something in part of true history or people. But to me, you need to make a story about how, like, any person, flaws and all, they are able to pursue something that makes them go down in history. Or, you know, at least for the right reasons rather than the wrong reasons. And this movie just isn't that. I don't know what the real Jessica is like, and I don't think they insulted her with the movie. Not all. It's just, as a movie, it's really boring. You know, it's just, it plays it safe. It doesn't really... Like, it does a respectful job to the real-life people for their presenting of her. Like, you know, it's not an insulting portrayal of her story or family. It's just, it has every cliche in the book, okay? Like, Ben Bryant is the recluse mentor who left a thing and the protagonist share a love for after a mistake disgraced him, and through love and kindness, I guess melt his heart. I don't know. You have the news reporters who are like, can she really do it? Or is it this or that? And I'm pretty sure they just filmed all the news report stuff, like, back to back, because they're in the same van rather than, like I'm pretty sure one of the anchormen checks his laptop in the van, and, like, and it's night, so I'm like, why are you still here? Granted, I could be misremembering that. But, anyways, and back to Ben Bryant. So yeah, he spends a lot of time in her family's home to talk to her over the radio, where the family makes him feel like part of the family since he doesn't have a family. And you know, that's not bad as part of a story. Like, you need something like that. But despite all that, I always say a movie can have cliches if it works, rather than crash and burn trying hard to be something special or unique, when if it does what it sets out to do right, it's the best movie it can be. And this is not the case. I didn't expect a masterpiece. I just wish I was anything but bored watching it. It's just the kind of story I glance at during the news, but really it's more interesting if I was the one doing it rather than watching someone else do it. I don't know, you ever like go to a museum and like you read something interesting at one of the exhibits, but then it's like a few minutes later you're already interested in going to the next exhibit? That's kind of this movie, because of course the true story of how she did this is a lot more interesting probably. Like, if you read it from herself or see the footage, it's like, wow, she really did do this. But like, as a movie, I don't know if I say it's done badly. It's just not interesting since everyone feels artificial instead of real. Like, it's played the most safest way you could do a biopic. Like, you know, Jessica Watson does in this movie because everyone is played, safe, I guess. Like, no one feels flawed or, I don't know. It's like they're real people, but you can tell this is trying to be an inoffensive version of the story, which I'm not saying the story in real life had to be offensive. Like, oh, these are all terrible people or something. Like, obviously not. It's just, I don't know. They just didn't feel like interesting characters compared to being just people, Like, okay, Jessica Watson does in this movie just what she does in this movie is just because. Like, she does it because she wants to. Not like she has a big motivation. And that's fine by me for people in real life, because people do things just because. As people, we can't. Like, we want to do things because, I want to. But for a movie, she needed a bit more of an arc or something, since it never feels like the movie gives me a reason to care as much as she wants to, since I know in real life she did it, but if I take it as just a movie on its own and say, oh, I didn't know this was a real story, or no, if this wasn't a real story, I wouldn't have a good reason to care other than like, well, she just wants to. So she needs something for me to feel like she's matured or improved or something. And I don't know, maybe some characters without specific motivation can work, I guess. I don't know an example off the top of my head. I'm just trying to be fair. But, it just didn't work here. Because, it's a thing where about her when by the end, I feel like at the beginning she should have grown, but I don't feel like she has. Like, there's something she matured from, improved upon, or something. It's just, she didn't feel different. It didn't feel like I went on this journey with her. It didn't feel like that. The movie has generic dialogue that's too easily forgettable. And while once in a while the shots are nice, it looked too fake in many other spots where I can tell she's actually on the water, and when anything dangerous might happen to her, I can tell it's easily fake. The soundtrack is also generic. Let's see, they had Geronimo. What other songs did they have? They also had Brighter Than the Sun. Some lame cover of Starman, and some other song I forgot about the end. Anyways, also, the stakes don't feel real, and any time from the beginning to end, I didn't feel like, because I'm supposed to be part of this journey with her, and it didn't feel like the actual amount of time in real life it did. It felt like, where in the movie it's 210 days, it felt like 3 weeks, honestly. Like, it didn't really feel like she went around the world. I don't know. If I could say anything positive, the performances, while nothing special, like, I will not be impressed if one performance got nominated. But they're still good. I mean, no one sleepwalks. It's just, I mean, I don't know. These are all good actors. And it's kind of nice to see Tegan Croft from Titans and something else since that show's ending. But I knew this movie wasn't working for me at any point I would have turned it off and be fine not seeing the rest. And since I didn't, it's exactly what I thought it was, and it bored me. It's not an awful film, but it's not engaging enough for me to call it just mediocre. Or honestly, forever people, I can say this isn't a bad movie. It's just that movie that's below average, and I will forget about it. And I already forgot about it. I give True Spirit a 4.5 out of 10. But hey, I give my congrats to the real life people. It's an impressive thing. I've never sailed around the world myself. But as a movie, I think I'll read your memoir instead. If I, actually want to.